Hey, fellow babies. Welcome back to the Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I am Michael Pachter on Twitter at Michael Pachter. You got to follow me. If you are watching this real time because you're a SIFTD subscriber on Patreon, thank you so much for your patronage. You could be getting this real time on YouTube because you're a YouTube subscriber. You can also link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, and you will get this for free, but you'll get it early. If you do none of those things, then you're watching it on YouTube a week late, which is okay. I insist on that because I know you'll be shocked to hear this. I'm not compensated for this. This is a freebie, but I want to make sure everybody could get some pack loving. So you got to give me some loving back. Follow me on Twitter. I literally think in the 5 years I've been doing this, the 500 episodes, whatever we've done, I think I've picked up 5 Twitter followers. So you can be the 6th. From Patreon, from the champ. Are the subtle details in video game graphics really that important? Games like Elden Ring aren't ugly, but they're not as impressive as similar games that sell far less units, I guess you mean. Some players claim that the slight visual upgrade in The Last of Us Part 1 Remaster isn't worth its $70 price tag. How important do you think a game's graphics really are? Do you think re-releasing old games with slight improvements at full price is a cash grab? Question's interesting and timely because I've been writing about this for over 20 years, and so to keep it kind of make it make sense. When you looked at the NES, the 1985 game console, pretty sure that was 8-bit. I might be wrong. It might have been 16-bit, but I think it was 8-bit. Then the Super NES was 16-bit. Then the PlayStation was 32-bit, and the N64, go figure, 64-bit. What that means is that as the microprocessor cycles through, each cycle an 8-bit processor can handle 8 bits of information, which is literally 8 pixels. It's 8 dots. And so a fast processor can make 8 dots move and kind of make some sense. But go look at like the original Space Invaders, that's like 8-bit. I mean, that's what it looks like. And as processors got faster and faster, N64 was 64-bit, PS2 was 128-bit, and then we got out of the bits altogether, and the PS3 ended up having multiple cores, so you had a pretty fast microprocessor that had 8 parallel cores, and it was really cool. Anyway, graphics got better, so you went from what was standard def on a PS2, standard def TV, to high definition on a PS3, to 4K on a PS4. And all that's really happened since PS4, as you get to PS5, is the frame rate improved. The problem is you're taking really high def already, and you're converting it into higher def. And I'll give you an example because Shane made me purchase this. I have a LG OLED TV 4K, and when I play PS5, it's stunning. But when I watch TV, it's pretty good. And my TV broadcast is in 1080p, which is 2 million pixels on the screen at a time. And I think the output is 60 frames a second, so it's 2 million times 60. 4K is 8 million pixels at 60. PS5 is 8 million pixels at 240. So that's 4 times 8, 32 versus 2. So 16 times clearer than regular high definition 1080p. PS5 is, I think I just did this right, 32 times what I get in broadcast television high definition. I watch Netflix in 1080p because they want $3 a month more to watch it in 4K, and I don't pay it. I watch Amazon in 4K because Amazon broadcasts in 4K and it's free. I can't tell the difference. I mean, I think I could if I had a side-by-side screen, but I literally watched Peaky Blinders yesterday, the last episode of the last season. It's actually quite well done. And I didn't even think about it. I'm saying this to you now because I know I watched Netflix yesterday. And I watched The Boys final episode of the third season a week or two ago. and it was in 4K, and I didn't even think about it. It's good, but it's not. And again, go into a Best Buy, look at a 4K TV next to a 1080p TV. Absolutely, you can tell the difference. Same programming on two different screens, but your mind doesn't look at things that way. So the subtlety that you're talking about is the right term. It's subtle. It's subtle enough that unless you see it side by side, you just won't notice. So to get to your question and the answer, no. If you've played The Last of Us and you played it in HD and you buy it again to play it in 4K, no, it's not worth it. If you've never played it, buy it in the better version, because what the hell, it will look good. On PS4, everything wasn't at 60. A lot of games are 30, but nothing was lower than 30 frames a second. And most games were at 60, so you're not even going to get the subtle difference if the game is running at 60. A remastered version for the PS5 or for the Xbox Series X is going to run it at 120 at least. But it will run better, but not enough for you to justify buying it again. It doesn't make sense. The only reason you would buy it again is you gave away your PS4 or you sold it, and you know the old game somehow isn't backward compatible and you can't get it and you want to play it again. But no, I agree with you. And the reason I said I've been writing about this for 20 years is what I wrote, and I wrote this in my 10 or 11 industry report before the PS4 launched in 2013. I called it the last console cycle. And I said very clearly in the report that nobody who picked up on this read, that I didn't mean the last console cycle as in there wouldn't be a PS5. I meant the last great one, because after this one, the improvements in graphics were going to be so subtle, so modest, that you would never sell as many consoles. Now, where I could be wrong about that is if Sony and Microsoft each cease making their prior console. So I don't know if PS4 is done. I think it is. But Xbox One, they're done. They don't make those anymore. So if you can't buy the old console and you're 9 years old, you're getting a new console. I mean, that makes sense. But, you know, if you look at the history of like PS2 went for 7 or 8 years after PS3 launched, and PS3 went, you know, for at least 7 years after PS4 launched. I think they might have stopped making that. I think they did stop making that one in 2019 or 2020. So, you know, this one's not going to have the kind of legs and tail because it's just not that important. And also, I predicted back in 13 that something like Game Pass, I didn't know it would be subscription, but the ability to stream games was going to come, and you weren't going to need a console, which we're there now. So obviously, if you want to play multiplayer and you want it to be synchronous and fast and no lag, yes, you need a console. But if you want to play Elder Scrolls single player for 200 hours, you can absolutely stream that thing. And Microsoft's going to prove that to you on Game Pass, and it's going to come out that way, and people are going to freaking love it. So yeah, I've always said that the improvement in graphics, going from, the reason I gave you all that 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever, going from 32-bit PS2 to 128-bit PS3 was 4 times the number of pixels, and the processing power, I think it had a 733 megahertz or something. The PS2 might have been smaller. It might have been 230. It was 233, but it was something like 4 or 5x the processing speed. So you had 4 times the number of pixels and 5 times the processing speed of the PS2. So you had 20x better graphics, and it mattered. And if you ever watched a PlayStation press conference, and I may screw this up too, but the PS2 press conference, I think, maybe it was PS1, had a rubber duck drop in a bathtub, and it showed the water rippling when the rubber duck dropped in the bathtub, and everybody was like, ooh, oh my God, the water's really rippling, and you can see the reflection of the duck on the water. Oh my God, the graphics, oh my God. The PS3 launch, I remember this, it was a rubber duck dropped, and then another 1,000 dropped right after it. Do you remember that press conference? That was really awesome. And we were just like, oh my God. And I remember this because they said this at the press conference. A PS3 processor could handle 1,000 independently moving objects. So theoretically, you could have 1,000 people with controllers in the same game, and 1,000 people could control 1,000 different characters, and they would go 1,000 different ways. Now, obviously, nobody made a game that was that complicated, but you could. And so the graphics went from Tony Hawk by himself, Tony Hawk with a car passing every 10 seconds and a person on the street, to just mayhem. Like everybody could, open world everything. Once you got to open world everything, how much more can you improve? Yes, the characters look better. And again, you can pull this up on the internet. Go look at facial animation, PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see it. And the difference is, you can see like the facial hair on the guy with the 2-day growth. You can see each independent hair sticking a different way. And when they move, you can see their hair kind of bouncing and the shine. It's better. But it's really, the word you used in the question is right, it's subtle. Re-releasing is a cash grab. Re-releasing is intended to satisfy those who long for nostalgia. And I really think the solution to that is going to be just like it is in movies and film. Take a catalog and put it on a streaming service. And that's where you can monetize. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think that's why Microsoft bought Activision. That you're going to get 18 versions of Call of Duty remastered for Game Pass, and they'll all be available, and they'll be cool. Thanks for joining us on today's Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. To our Patreon patrons, thank you so much. To our YouTube subscribers, thank you so much. To all of you who have Amazon Prime, create a Twitch Prime account and link them. It's really easy to do. You can use your parents' account. We get paid. You don't have to, it costs you $0. It's included in your membership, and you have to renew that. So go to the link on the show description below, and it'll teach you how to do that, but do it, please. And if you can't do any of those things, if you don't have Prime and you don't think this is worth paying for, you have to follow me on Twitter as a price of admission, @Michael Pachter. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.